Hello, I just wanted to give you a real quick overview on using MyStatLab. So when you click into MyStatLab, then you should see this Summer 2014 Basic Stats class. And once you're here inside my math lab, this is what you guys will be looking at. I haven't completely finished developing this class, but I wanted to be able to get this stuff up and running so that you can have a chance to look at it prior to the first day of class. So some of the titles on assignments will change, but the whole forum, or the way it's laid out, will stay the same. Up here at the top, you'll see a running calendar, and obviously May is going to be blank because we don't have anything. But when you come in here, it'll tell you exams and things that are coming up. And then within this little box is your upcoming assignments, and you can click on them to go directly to the assignment or not. Here under announcements, I will post a weekly announcement. You'll also get it as an email, but it will stay up here for a week. It is my expectation that students read those. So if there's something important in those announcements and you miss it, obviously that's on you because you should be reading those. I don't post anything if it's not important. Here you have, talks about your progress. This isn't where you'll find your grade, but it can kind of help you out a little bit. You'll also have a forums that hasn't been created yet that will go in here. The study plan is optional, so notice over here, optional. You obviously have already gone into the start here, otherwise you wouldn't be watching this video. If you're in doc sharing, that's where you'll find some lecture notes, Excel templates, and Excel documentation to help you out. All of the lecture notes are PowerPoints, and it's just you viewing them. I haven't voiced over any of them, but if you have questions about something, don't be afraid to ask. Here's the Excel templates that you can use throughout the semester. It's not inclusive, but it is a good place to start for some of the things that we will be doing. You're not required to use Excel except for in your lab assignments, but it is a good tool for calculations, and a lot of students will rely more on their graphing calculators, which is fine. It's a little bit quicker. Here's where you'll do your discussion forums, and those are required. Your first post is by Wednesday. Again, it hasn't been created because I'm just running this video real quick for you. Here's where you're going to find all of your homework, and the nice thing about the homework is that when you go into it, you're allowed to do it until you get 100%. You can leave the homework, so even though there's only like 8 problems on this section, if you get busy and you need to leave, you can exit out and then come back later and finish it. It will give you 3 attempts on each problem, so if you get it wrong, it'll tell you and it'll give you a hint. And then if you get it wrong, and we get one more, it'll mark it wrong, but you do have the opportunity to get a similar exercise. Let me get through this one. And okay, so this one had a lot of parts. And let's just, okay, so I get it wrong, and down here I get this similar exercise that will allow me to do the same problem, and if I get it right, then I'll get credit for the problem. Over here I have a help me solve that will walk you through how to do the problem. It asks for input as you work alongside it. The view an example is like a PowerPoint that does the problem for you and will show you how to do things. They're not going to use technology a lot of times in their helps, or if they use technology, they skip those steps. So there's some times where you're going to have to maybe figure out or assume what they're doing there. The video will take you to a video lecture. This textbook button takes you to the pages where you would find it in your textbook. StatCrunch is MyStatLab's tech help. It's okay, not my first choice, and I think that because it's not available to you out in the real world, it's not something that you should solely rely on, but it's still a good tool. I'm just saying Excel, Minitab, or your graphing calculator are probably going to be your first help. The tech help takes you to the technology handbook, so if you are using something else, the tutor is not free after a certain amount of time, but there are free tutors obviously at the Student Achievement Center. And then Ask My Instructor will send me a link to this problem, and then you can type in having problems, thought I was doing this right, how did they get this value, whatever, send it to me, and then I can look it over. You also have the option to print your homework if you want to. If I go up here and actually I don't want to go there. If I go into the homework assignment, sorry, and right here under print, it gives you the option to just print the question or the entire homework assignment. So if you want to take it to work and work on it while you're there and then come back and answer and fill in the questions, you can. It won't change the problems on you from the time you change. On the quizzes and tests, you're going to find that you have 2 attempts on these. And again, I'll get them up, but here you'll have, this says infinity, but these are sample ones. And so you'll see that you have 2 attempts on each test. If you start a test, you must finish it. You cannot come back to it later. And if you do that, then it will count as one of your attempts, and you won't. And you'll just end up with the 1. Here's your grade book. Your stuff is weighted according to the things that are in the syllabus. MyMathLab keeps it up to date. The only bad part is, like with your final and your other exams, it's not going to hold that 0. So you might show that you're making an 83% going into the final, but realize that right now MyStatLab would see that as not even part of the total points possible. So unless I just go in and give everybody zeros from the start so that you know your true grade, which kind of is really distorted then, but you can always figure it out. It's a weighted average. Access to StatCrunch. Here is your textbook, and I'll make the Student Solutions Manual available to you. But here's, if you look at it, when it pops up, you'll see that it looks just like the textbook that you would purchase. And you have the opportunity to print pages up here, and if you need to do anything like that. So that's why it's not really necessary that you purchase the book, because you do have this e-version. You have Tools for Success, which is a great place for tech help. If you scroll down, I do have Excel documentation and doc sharing, but you do also have these tech manuals for different calculators for Excel, and they are very, very helpful. Multimedia Library is a place you can go to get extra help. So if you're on Chapter 2, Section 2, and you want more help, then it will find everything. This is all publisher generated. So you get PowerPoints, more videos, some help with StatCrunch, and then the part that has to deal with the textbook. So I hope that you find MyStatLab to be extremely helpful, and it's a great resource. If you ever get stuck on anything in MyStatLab, especially at 11 o'clock at night when you know I'm not up, there's a help and support button right here where it will connect you to a person that you can chat with in order to get help. I'm not a tech person, so if you're having issues with something loading on MyStatLab, you would have to contact them. If you're having questions about how to enter an answer, I'm more than happy to help you with that or find an answer. But the tech part you would have to save for them.